Okay, I recently installed Reason 2. After my last video around the matrix pattern sequencer, I got this urge to install version 2. Just kind of a bit of a flashback to how things used to be when I picked this up late 2001, 2002 time. Started playing with version 1 and then actually went and bought version 2. I've actually still got the CDs and the Reason manual, which sometimes still refer to at times, but I thought it'd be kind of interesting just to open it up again, take a look at how it all began for me way back when, using Reason when they were known as Propellerhead.
This is where we all get down.
So before we have a little play around and take a look at it, I thought we'd just listen to a couple of the demos that came with the product. So one of my favourites, and I remember spending hours looking at how this track was put together in those initial days, trying to understand how to create a song in Reason, and this was certainly a go-to track here, Realization, Unknown Source. So if you open this up, you can see a very different looking Reason to what we know in version 11 that I'm currently running at the moment, and it's kind of a great feeling to see it running again on my machine. So let's just have a little listen to this demo, because I think it's a pretty good demo track, to be fair, with that comes with Reason 2. Just while that's playing, you'll notice there's plenty of real estate here on the screen to be able to move this single rack around. Plenty of space over here. So, yeah, I'm getting goosebumps just listening to that. So, this version of Reason was what I think they call MDI application, so like a multiple document interface. So you could spin up multiple of these in here, and you had sort of the classic Windows cascade, tile horizontally and tile vertically options in here, which was kind of neat. And I think I posted on Reddit somewhere that you couldn't actually split these things out. I completely forgot that you could pop out the sequencer here, and you could kind of lay this out pretty similar to the way I work now, where I tend to split the sequencer out, probably have the mixer and the rack in a window. Certainly try the rack vertically on a monitor if you've not done it, that's pretty cool. But yeah, so you can pop this sequencer window out, which I completely forgot you could do that, and you can pop it back in. But you'll notice here it's single rack, so people who are using obviously the later versions, you can create multiple racks, columns, whatever you want to refer to them as, inside here to structure your tune a little bit better. But if you take a look at this demonstration track, Realization, you'll see straight from the top, from the interface here, you've got a very different looking mixer here. The SSL isn't present here, but scrolling down from that, you'll see all the devices are listed in here. So remember the Dr. Rex loop player. Obviously used to seeing the Dr. Octarex nowadays, but if you look at some of this stuff, I'm using some of this stuff 20 years later. So the Subtractor Polyphonic Synthesizer, NNXT for sampling, NN19, redrum, even some of the effects that are in here, I'm still using some of those today. So all that stuff that I spent hours learning way back in the early mid 2000s, I'm still using some of those effects and devices now inside the rack in Reason 11 Suite. So the sequencer looks very different as well. Obviously there's no blocks in here. I don't think there was in this version. I'm sure that came in a later version, but let's take a look at spinning up a track from scratch. So we'll just park him, so you can minimize these things down here. Look, he'll just sit down there till we need him again. So let's create an empty rack. So straight away I made a mistake when I started to do this. I'm so used to dragging things in from the browser, or right clicking here and in, you know, going to utilities, matrix pattern sequence or whatever. But I made the mistake of just dropping in a device here and then merrily kind of creating a matrix off of here at the bottom here, look, and then just drawing in some gates, but completely forgetting that obviously way back in the day I'd set up a template, because I really ought to have a mixer in here, because I'm stuck with just a Subtractor Polyphonic Synthesizer at the moment. So, you know, all the stuff that I'm still doing these days to clear down devices and whatever, that's all still valid, but I must remember to pop a mixer on here. And I'd forgot, somebody pointed out on Reddit to me about having to chain these things if you needed more than the 14 channels that you got here. Completely forgot all about that. Would have been nice to have a max here, which obviously, but because of the single rack, there's not much point. So of course now with this in focus, I can go again and I can create let's start with a redrum here. No default patch. I think they have a default patch loaded now, or one you can choose, but here we need to load one in. So let's just draw something in here. So just get a kick laid down to start with. Things like effects, so we can drop a reverb on here for the return. We can dial a bit of reverb in there if we wanted to. So that's a bit crazy, we won't do that. But again, off of here, can right click, I can create. I seem to have very little options compared to what I'm used to seeing in Reason 11 now. But let's just create something off of here and just create a very simple bass. But it's super cool to be using this again and just playing around with it, because it's been so long since I've used this version. But as I said at the start, we're still, you know, we're still using a lot of these devices, effects. Certainly the matrix pattern sequencer, I'm still using it today. You've got your tempo down here, so similar looking transport control at the bottom. But yeah, it just seems really weird to be using it actually. But I noticed in the settings again, it's very sort of straightforward, simpler than it is now. It's not too much more complicated, but there's more options in here. But I'm not bothered to set up my nectar panorama here, but so it'll be interesting to see if that will work. I'll try that a little later. But yeah, it just seems so almost simple now, but I guess it's just because of the experience that I've had using the different versions right up to 11 Suite. There just doesn't seem much in here at all. See, I'm pretty sure it's still copied to track and yeah, all that kind of jazz is like it was before. Okay, let's just copy that into there. Yeah. Okay, cool. Turn that off, turn that off. Okay, let's just move those up to the Subtractor. Yeah, so let's have a look what else we've got up here. So we've got self-contained settings there where you can pack everything like into a single file. So if you're shipping it around between your friends working on a track, you can do that and not have to worry about sample packs and a variety of other things. Yeah, you could set this splash screens. I guess that's still there in the current version, but I don't tend to use it. But website author, splash screen, a bit of info about your track, all the normal new, save, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there just doesn't seem to be many devices in here when you remember back to all the synths that we've got now and some of the rack extensions that I've got installed, and not to mention VSTs and plugins on top. I feel a little bit restricted here of what I've got available, but I wished I'd entered that competition to put in a track using only the devices from the early version of Reason, but anyway, ran out of time for that one. But it would have been kind of cool to do it in version 2 and bounce it out here. So yeah, if you look at this, it's version 2, build 198, so I've not applied any upgrades to it or anything, just installed it as it came on the CD that you saw at the beginning. Run it up and away we go. Let's not save this. Let's take a look at another demo. I'm sure I studied these and looked at these back in the day, but nothing sticks out as much as the realization track for me. Cool, look at the automation here. Yeah, very simple. Yeah, look at the automation frame. Yeah, cool. Let's have a look what else we've got. It's briefly in here. Try this one. Put him here. The control and alt's still the same for the left and right locators. It's hardly touching the CPU. I remember when I built my first PC that this ran on, I think I was limited as to how many devices I could put in the rack, and I was pushing it. So if I get a chance, I may actually create a tune in this and do a video about it. I don't know, but it's been interesting this weekend, just taking a look at Reason 2 and remembering how mind blown I was when I first saw this. Just to, never mind the front, but looking at the rack and the cabling, trying to understand how to put all this together. It was really interesting. Great memories though of using this software. Fantastic memories. Yeah, a lot of this is still, available in there. I may have just jigged it around a little bit. There's no groove to it. Can't remember if there's groove in this or not. I can get a groove from clip, I've seen that, but yeah. So there you go, it's just a quick look around Reason 2. Bit of a flashback, being as it's 20 years old this year. If you like these videos, I'll say subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I'll get time to put a little track down in version 2.
Yeah.